teach you how to track your treatment product usage, not just the tox and fillers, but really all of it, your boosters, your serums, your peels. I have a HydraFacial case study that I have gone through, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit later. But today's focus is really on product control, not just your inventory or retail sales, but what's used during services like HydraFacials, chemical peels, masks, and microneedling. This is often where med spas lose thousands of dollars. Extra units, boosters used without being billed, too much serums applied, extra masks that were opened just because, and no one is tracking how much these are used daily. If you're not tracking what's being used, you are losing money, period. Many med spas hemorrhage profit not because of low bookings, but because they give away treatment products without even realizing it. So think of this. If you give away just one HydraFacial booster per day without billing it, you're losing $1,500 to $2,000 a month in retail revenue. So if you think to yourself, has your team used masks, boosters, or peels without always logging them and charging them? The answer is most likely yes. And think to yourselves, what are the top 3 products used in your back bar that cost you money every week? So I'm going to dive into HydraFacials, right? Very popular year round, specifically in the summer. HydraFacial boosters are used, but not always invoiced. And the cost to the spa is $30 to $40 each. And their retail value is approximately $60 to $75. Now, where an LED add on can be given as a freebie because it doesn't necessarily have consumables, things like hydrogel masks, bundles, they're eroding your perceived value of your facials. Microneedling serums are a huge one. They're overused because providers don't know what their cost per ml is. Exosomes, PDRN, PRP kits, these are often the most expensive products per treatment. And if your estheticians, your injectors are using them in excess or haphazardly, then you are losing thousands of dollars a month. Peels and masks are another huge one. Used without provider accountability, especially when not pre-booking or invoicing them, cost you thousands of dollars. The just in case syndrome of providers pulling extra products as backups and not returning them or logging them happens consistently. So I want you to think to yourselves, how many of you have a clear record of what your boosters or peels are used in patients per this week? Do your providers know the cost of what they're opening during a facial? So we're going to implement daily treatment product logs. Every entry should include the patient name, provider, treatment type, products used, right? Whether it's the booster, the mask, the serum, the lot number if required. So an example would be during a HydraFacial, if a provider uses the Brightenol booster and treatment sheet or the EMR note should reflect that and the patient should be charged. So we want to make sure we do weekly inventory reconciliation and we want to appoint a product lead or room to count all boosters, vials, masks, and peels in the back bar. Compare treatments performed versus products pulled. These are things that your manager should be doing on a weekly basis and identify overuse or unbilled usage patterns. So this can be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet or tracked via Zenoti, Aesthetic Record, AI platforms. We want to make sure that cost awareness equals profit mindfulness. So really educate your team on the true cost per patient. How much does that jelly mask actually cost? How much does that biocellulose mask that everyone loves cost? You know, they're $5 a mask for those SkinCeuticals biocellulose masks. If everyone in the office is using them and putting them on for every single facial, that is thousands of dollars per month. How many? I want you to make sure your protocols are clear. How many mLs of serums are in the booster vial, and how many treatments should that cover? One bottle of exosomes is hundreds of dollars. How many treatments should that cover? And the other one that your providers really do not think, how does one free $30 booster affect your bottom line? If it's given daily, it affects it greatly. So I like to have printed, laminated product cost cards or put the product cost stickers in your drawers. These are not something that are patient facing, but they really are for your team. So, and I mean, ask your team, like, would your team know the difference between giving away a $4 mask or a $40 booster? And do they understand the impact on commission or bonuses when they give away free product? So, I had a team, a very profitable, a very big, busy med spa in Texas. They had 6 rooms. They were offering facials, HydraFacials, microneedling, body contouring. Their monthly revenue was well over $150,000, right? Great volume, but their net profit was under 10%. We identified that their providers were routinely adding boosters, masks, and peels without charging clients. No one tracked how many were used versus how many were sold. Inventory restocked monthly without controls is not helpful to anyone. Their cost of goods for services was at 41%, and your industry target should be under 28%. So what we did was we went old school. We created treatment product logs for each room. It was a simple form of who used what, on whom, and was it charged. This was delivered to the manager each evening, and she did ticket audits to make sure that everything was accounted for. We set weekly limits, and there was no more just grab one without logging it mentality, right? Every single thing was logged. We retrained the staff on cost per product and coached in building valuable upgrade conversions. This not only helps them with their commission structure, but it really truly does help the med spa and understand the client to understand what is going into their treatment. I've seen it time and time again where a provider will leave a practice, right? An esthetician, and somebody comes in for their monthly facial like they always do, and they say, "Oh man, I really liked it when Lauren did my treatment because she did my neck and it was much more in depth than what I got this time. And why didn't this new provider do this? Is she new? Does she not know what's going on?" And the reality is that people are giving away too much in the room. We see this all the time with talks, right? Are there a couple extra units that are being added on? And nothing, it doesn't have to be nefarious, but those couple of units, as you know, that cost adds up extremely quickly. So we want to set provider KPIs, the percentage of services with add-ons built versus products used. So the results after 60 days were waste was reduced by 68%. HydraFacial profitability rose 24%, and their monthly savings was around $7,800. So their team engagement also increased because they understood how to drive value without giving things away. Teams really need to understand the why behind it. HydraFacial is one of those treatments that has an exorbitant amount of consumables. Their serums are extremely expensive, their boosters are extremely expensive. We need to make sure and set SOPs on exactly how much to use for each treatment. I have seen estheticians go on and on about, well, this person's skin was extra this and extra that and needed more of this, but their profitability was floundering. Are those machines basically at the most basic point, are they shut off properly at night? Is that device rinse running and running and running? And then all of a sudden, you're out of it. These are things, SOPs that can be put in place. If you're a client of mine, we absolutely have them. I know that my colleagues absolutely do this as well. The amount of tips that are used when you're doing a microneedling, how much serums are you using? These things cost so much money. The consumables in a med spa are not that of a fast food place or something that is much less. These are, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars every single month, and we need to make sure that our treatments are profitable. The other thing that people don't even realize, a lot of times people say, oh, well, my Botox cost me $6.85 a unit. I'm going to charge $14. Your Botox treatment doesn't only cost you the units. You are charging on time. You are charging, there's gauze, there's gloves, there's syringes, all of these things, Purison. These are all things that are attributed to the cost of that treatment. So we really want to hone down. And if you don't have spreadsheets already on exactly what is used in each treatment, then we can absolutely deliver that together. How many pumps of cleanser? What are your SOPs on this? So I want you to think about what treatment products you're going to start tracking this week and who on your team will own weekly counts. We want to create treatment product usage logs, including HydraFacial boosters, masks, microneedling serums, peels, and we want to complete a 1 week audit. I want you to compare products used versus treatments booked. Are your team, are they in the back rooms slathering themselves with the most expensive creams and serums you have in the spa? Are they in the back room giving themselves HydraFacials quickly? Who's doing talks? Do you have staff product versus client facing product? That is critical, critical, critical. Your vendors will supply all of this. I do not want you to say, hey, oh, so and so just wanted to get her lips done. So, Ashley did them for her quickly. No, these things need to be accounted for. This is hundreds of dollars per treatment. So we want to implement a weekly reconciliation audit, right? Assign this team member to count, track, and report, and educate your team on cost per use. There's cheat sheets, laminated cards. Obviously, none of this is going to be client facing, but they really do help you to set treatment profitability up for the future. We want to make sure that the KPIs for your providers are rewarded if they are met, and be mindful of their usage. The best thing that I can do is to give a manager a budget for the next month for ordering their inventory and they're under budget. That makes me so happy. But with that, we need to look at your treatment logs. We need to pull those reports. Who is doing what treatments? Where is there leakage? Where is there waste? Where is there spillage? All of these things happen every single day in your med spa, and there are ways that we can keep everything on track. So, where product waste happens in treatments, I'm just going to highlight the most common sources of treatment waste. Number one, again, is HydraFacial. The boosters, they're used but not added. Peels, VI, Skin Better, PCA. I know that in some of the EMRs, you can just put in chemical peel and things are charged at the base rate if they're not done as an add-on to VI or add-on to Skin Better, or extra peels being pulled just in case and then they're thrown out. LED add-ons or jelly masks given as freebies without tracking. This one seems minor, but can add up very quickly. And the microneedling serums, providers overusing or not understanding the cost of them is extremely cost ineffective. So we want to make sure that our SOPs are in place for microneedling and for the serums. If it's basic HA, if it's exosomes, if it's PDRN, we want to make sure that in that vial, our protocol is that there are 2 or 3 or 4 treatments done, right? And we work with our team to design that. Incorrect open stock protocols, right? Partially used but not tracked is really considered double usage. So you open something up, maybe your client says, "Hey, I want to come in and get my lips done," and so you prepare and you open up the syringes and you get everything set, and then when they come in, they change their mind and they want to do something else. Well, we need to make sure that that product, whether it's tox or whatever was pulled and drawn, is accounted for and then used as quickly as humanly possible so that there is no waste on that and we're not throwing out errant product because we incorrectly open things, right? Same thing goes for peels, same thing goes for masks and boosters. So I really want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you cross-checked your usage versus what is billed? If you're a client of mine, you know that I ask you to audit every single ticket every single day, right? That is your manager's job, and to make sure that that is accounted for. And do you know how much the cost of your products and if they're always being charged? Is there an errant provider who is stacking on things in the back in the room and not really, they're throwing on a little area of laser without charging it? We need to re-educate and change the mindset that they will make more money if they're adding onto their commission bonus, right? Not as opposed to thinking in a small picture of, hey, this client's going to give me a good tip, right? We want to track their KPIs. So a 3-step product control framework is: A, track usage by the point of service. We're going to create that daily log. We are going to include the provider, the treatment type, the product use. Was it billed? Yes or no? We're going to assign those weekly audits, estimate cost per treatment, right? And we can really dive down. And this is where, when we're talking about cost per treatment, at the beginning of the new year, when we're reassessing what our pricing is across the board, and that's a really great time to increase pricing, we're going to use this from data and not just, oh, hey, I'll add $50 to this. That's not really helpful. We want to use data and analytics to make the smartest decisions for our teams. And the impact and the mindset of just one extra really needs to be removed from all of the providers. So educate your staff. We need to make sure that we are being proactive, and we want to make sure that we are tracking everything, absolutely everything. It is not just the cost of your tox. It is not just the cost of your filler that are your big ticket items, your other back bar items. What's sitting in the closet that nobody ever looks in? You would be surprised, right? So I want to open up the floor to some questions. And so if anybody has questions, I would love to hear them and answer any of them. Any questions on treatment usage and how to eliminate waste?
Do you have kind of an automated audit system that you recommend for places that
So
have
there
bigger
are
retail?
there is AI. There are AI platforms that can absolutely come in and help with this. They are typically done through specific EMRs or third parties, but we can absolutely talk about that. When I see inventory issues arise, which they are inevitable everywhere, what we like to do is really get a lockdown, and we can see exactly how much waste there is. And so we can work on that together for sure. Okay, how to account for staff treatments done on the clock that require the technician and the staff? Okay, this is a good question. This happens all the time. So, what I like to do, and there are different ways to do this, right? So, but I like to make sure that when a staff member is onboarded, we have a request sheet, and that request sheet is then submitted. So there are, I like to do it in quarters, by quarter. And what we do is we set up a limit, right? I like to go by a retail amount or a treatment amount, right? Pick your 4 treatments. From there, we can get product from our reps. Your reps should be happy to provide this. Now, that product is completely separate from all of your client product, right? I want you to store it in a different part of the fridge, in a different cabinet. We want to make sure that that is secluded. So, done on the clock. So, if your treatment provider is doing the treatment, I like to have them, they can still stay on the clock, but the person receiving the treatment should absolutely 100% clock out. Okay, an example that laser hair costs us nothing. So laser hair costs us time. So if somebody else is doing that, we need to make sure that that is accounted for as one of the either retail treatments, like at a retail cost, um, and that's allotted that way. Or if you have a treatment amount that you allot for each of your staff members, that is one of the treatments that is being pulled. So it is not that it costs us nothing. There are other consumables depending on your device. But the person who can provide the treatment, I believe, should be able to stay on staff. Or the other thing I love to do is to have once a quarter on a Sunday, the team can come in, they can do their treatments on each other, and that takes away all of the hourly commitments. Okay. So if we don't have any other questions, I will give you a few minutes back in your day. And if you love this training, make sure you share with your team or another med spa that could benefit. You can always catch the replay on our YouTube channel. And to get access to more free training that will help grow your med spa, visit our link tree in our social bio and be sure to join us live every Wednesday, 2:30 Central Time. Same time, same place. You'll find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn.